I'm Mike,
I'm Jackie.
and this is our story.
So we met in 2008. I was 20 years old. He was 24. Super young love, but both of us had a lot of life experience. I had been doing hair for, at that time, 2 years, and you had been a police officer for 4 years?
3 years. I was in the Marine Corps from after graduating high school, and did that for 4 years. Immediately got out, started the police academy. As of now, I've been a cop for almost 20 years.
So when we first got married, I thought it was going to be amazing. I always had so much respect for the uniform and the military and first responders. And in our first few years of dating and marriage, reality really set in when our friend Millie passed away. It was like a shock, but also a reality check that this life, police officer life, was going to be hard.
That did affect me, but I think at that time I was kind of used to stuff like that. I knew it was a terrible time and a terrible situation, and it affected me a lot, but obviously it didn't affect me like it did her. She wasn't used to something like that. I was used to a lot of loss of life and losing friends already. At the time, I don't think I really processed it because I was kind of so used to it from the military and having friends that I've lost in the past. That I kind of just compartmentalized it and pushed it away. And I think it didn't really affect me till like years later. I can't tell you when, I can't tell you when it kind of broke through, but it was a long time after. And then even later on, becoming more of a Jesus follower, I thought about it a different way, I think, than I did back then. And even I know death's, it's not the end, it's the beginning.
So after about 10 years of marriage, I watched Mike, I watched you go through these high stress situations and kind of from afar. And it was like, over time, it was almost like numb and disengaged. And I knew that things had to change. I knew that we needed to grow together. I felt like we were kind of starting to get pulled apart a bit in marriage and in life, and just the stress was just piling on and piling on.
I was so used to being stressed out all the time. It was kind of like a normal thing for me. That's just how I kind of operated. I was more calm when I was stressed, but at the time it was just, you can only like handle so much to where your bottle just fills up, and then it's going to explode. And it was more and more starting to happen. I was just starting to explode at times, and for no reason, and because I just had nowhere to put stress or anger or emotion, and it all just started to come out at times, and I just thought it was a normal thing. I think, I don't know, well before that I kind of understood or accepted, I should say, a good word, that I had PTSD from the military. And then it just got worse as being a cop. It just kept compiling on. So I think that was a big issue of it, of the explosions and the attitude and the way that I was holding myself.
And I knew early on that you had experienced a lot of trauma and PTSD from the military, and I was as supportive as I could be, but there's, after so many years of you not knowing like what to do, finally it came to a point where we both, I would threaten, basically, like I would say, we need to go talk to someone. We need to go to therapy. You need to go to therapy. But like we wouldn't actually act on it. We wouldn't actually make the appointment and go until things just kept getting a little bit worse and worse. And it wasn't all the time, like it wasn't every day, but in those moments, the hard moments, the dark moments, finally we decided, okay, we're gonna go get some help. We're gonna go to couples therapy. So we finally went as a couple, and it was good. And I feel like we went and we were on the same page, and it was good, but it wasn't like a breakthrough.
I mean, I know most couples go for a long time, and then I had these big breakthroughs. But I think after the last couple times we went, he actually was like, "I don't even need to see you guys anymore. You seem like you're doing just fine with each other." Sorry. I can't talk and cry at the same time. I do not sound good. I know he told me that he goes, how do you word it? I don't need to see you two, but you need to see somebody, to me. And I knew that, because just how I've known that. I've seen people in the past, and I knew that it wasn't an us problem, it was more of a me problem. And he told me that I don't need you to see me, but you should see somebody.
So then fast forward, a few months go by, we both, we're done with therapy and counseling, and we both had on our radar that we were gonna go to therapy on our own. He was gonna go on his own, I was gonna go on my own one day. But it kind of, a few months go by and you think you're doing okay, and then you're not, While all that was happening, I was searching for a way to share online, like that we had gone to therapy, and as a police family that's normal and it's okay and it's not weird, like it shouldn't have a stigma around it. So I was looking online one day and just kind of like getting ideas of how I can share this without being too much. And this reel pops across my page, and it's this guy, and he's sharing about his faith and his military background and PTSD and all of these things that we had been going through. So we connected, and he ended up sending us a box that we got in the mail a few days later. And we opened up the box, and there's these books talking about PTSD, trauma, military, all of that. And for me, I was like, this is from God. Like, I knew that it was like, God was like, here you go. This is a solution. Like, he needs to go. So in that box with the books, this guy has a nonprofit foundation, and it's for veterans, first responders, and it talks deeply about faith and PTSD, and it's specifically for first responders, and military. So I knew that God was like, yeah, this is what you're gonna do. So a few weeks later, we were out eating tacos. I see this guy walk by with a shirt with the name of the foundation. It says Mighty Oaks. And again, God's like, here, this is what you need to do. And it was probably like 8 months or so of planting the seed and watering it. And in the background, my faith was just growing. I kept praying daily that God would heal his heart. And our marriage. So finally, we filled out the application, and meanwhile, in the background, we both had started therapy at this point because we weren't doing well. Like, on the surface we were, but I
think we were doing well, but I wasn't.
I think that God had work to do in both of us, really. Like, I had to deal with my own past, and he had to deal with his past, and then he needed to bring us together. I was going to counseling, a Christian counselor, and I would say like within the first few visits, I had major breakthrough because she was Christian and we brought God into the conversation. And towards the end of last year, it got just to a breaking point for me personally that I literally begged God to take you to Mighty Oaks. And I was more specific with my prayers and not just asking for healing, but specifically asking God to take you to this program and for you to fully surrender to Him. And in that, the last year of praying and praying and praying, like I had to learn how to be faithful and obedient and wait on God's timing. It wasn't my timing, it was His. So
it's funny because the way that she explains, obviously it's different because she was in her head and I was in mine, and we didn't really talk about it too much. But I told her even after we signed up and after I got back that if you would have did it for me, I would have just went. You know, it wasn't that I didn't want to go or I was against it. I was kind of lazy about it. I wasn't really like, I wasn't the one reaching out for it, but I would have just went if she did it. But obviously the timing was God's timing. So I'm still thankful the way it played out. It just kind of, it sucks to, when she talks about how she was going through all that, I had no idea, you know? Because she didn't talk about it and she wanted it to be on my own terms and my decision. But when I did sign up, or when I signed up and we finally got the email for the confirmations, we picked a date. And even I think after that, I wasn't really hesitant about going. I didn't really know exactly what I was getting into, but I was just gonna leave it. Up to, I was just gonna accept what it was, just go into it open-minded, and then see what I get out of it, kind of thing. I actually didn't even know it was faith-based until I got there, because I actually didn't get online. I had an idea what it was through the books that we got sent and whatnot, but it was all warrior kind of stuff. I looked at some of the books. I didn't get a chance to actually read them, but I went through and I didn't have an idea what it was, but I knew it was help for me, and I was willing to get that help.
Okay, so every night I was praying for God to use me and to put the person that He wants me to help in front of me. I would pray that almost every night, and one night I was saying the prayer out loud, and God literally like showed me a picture of Mike. Like He was like, it's your husband. Like that's the person that you need to bring to me. So I continued to pray, and you booked your time at Mighty Oaks, and for me it was just a confirmation and like hope, because I knew that He was going to do so much work through you when you were there. So fast forward to you going to Mighty Oaks, like you leaving, and the whole time you were gone, I was praying and praying and praying, not only for you, but all of the men that were attending the program. And I just knew I knew God was like working like that week. And I got a message from you that literally just said, "Jackie, I love you." And in that message, like I just knew in the background like what God was really doing and how he was working. The day that you got back from the program and we talked and kind of went over everything, I literally felt like we had a list of things that I had been praying for and questioning, and that had been from the very beginning of our relationship, that I could just check off like one by one, just prayers answered, conversations that were had, things that we were talking about after the program that it just felt like a completely different relationship almost, but centered in God and surrender?
So I've always been, like I said, religious. But I think there was a time where I was, I guess, not ashamed, but almost like didn't want to, you know how like some people just don't want to talk about it because they don't want to push it on to somebody else, I guess. Or maybe I was a little bit embarrassed about it, I would say. But being at Mighty Oaks and like hearing testimonies from certain people, and you got these dudes, like these Marines that are like hardcore guys, you know, like, or these Army dudes, like these Delta Force dudes or these recon guys, all types of men from around the military that when you hear them talk about and say their testimonies and the way they spoke about Jesus, it almost lifted that, you know? It's like, I'm looking at this guy telling his story and I'm like, he ain't ashamed to say it, so why should I be? And that was, I think that was a turning point right there. It's like, because I've always loved God and I always loved Jesus, but I never spoke about it. And I'd get in situations where I could have, but I chose not to when I should have. And that was a turning point there. And then after, I think it was actually like it might have been the first day. Just listening to some testimonies and certain people speak, it almost like made me remember things that I'd never even thought about in a long time, that I didn't know that affected me. I think it was a couple days in, after going through all the things that we did, is when I kind of turned to God, and I just gave my life to Him then.
After you found God and we had these conversations, it like confirmed everything that I had been praying for, that God has been hearing my prayers. And I know that's not the case for everyone, but for me, it's like He had to teach me in that process just to trust Him, and for me to surrender our marriage and all of it to Him. So the next day after you got back, we went to church and we had talked a little bit about getting baptized together. We both had been baptized. I had been baptized in 7th grade, and you were baptized
When I was a baby.
when you were a baby. And the next day at church, you know, there, of course, right on the screen, they're like, Baptism Sunday in 2 weeks. And it was just, again, a sign, and God was like, just go get baptized. So we did together. And since then, I feel like we're not perfect, and when we do have an argument or a fight or a miscommunication, we go through it with God and we go through it in prayer, versus before just being shut off and you know, not bringing Him into the picture. And now I feel like our relationship at 15 years in is the strongest that it's ever been, because God's at the center of it. I feel like equipped, and I feel like we have the armor of His protection, and like we can handle anything because He's on our side.
I think it's just all about God now. Truthfully, it's all about Jesus and God. Not that He wasn't there before, He just wasn't as important. We didn't put an importance on Jesus and God like we do now, and it's made things in our life, in our marriage, in our kids, and our decisions that we make now way more meaningful and important. And I think it always needed to be that way. I think it needs to be that way in order to survive anymore.
Yeah.
Especially from my background or from her background and what I do now. You just can't do it alone.
If you're feeling disconnected or kind of like you don't know what else to do, but there's still so much love for your husband, and you're a first responder wife, police wife, veteran wife, my advice would be to just continue to pray specifically for your marriage, over protection over your husband, and continuously pray that not only that they get to know the Lord, but that you are shaped by the Lord, and just have full surrender in letting God do that work and mold you into his perfect child. But just getting to know the Lord as much as possible and giving it all to him, because that's the turning point for me.
I think as a veteran or a first responder, I always thought that I was supposed to be doing it on my own. You know, it was my decision to go in the military, it was my decision to become a cop, and it was my burden to bear. But I understand now that you don't have to do it alone. There is so much help out there, whether it be the organization I went to, Mighty Oaks, other organizations that are out there for veterans, first responders, God, Jesus. You don't have to do it alone. You don't have to, and you don't need to, and you cannot.
Through this last year, I've come to realize by talking to other police wives, is that the enemy wants to take your marriage from you, and it's your job, and you can fight with God by your side, but you have to bring him into it. And and not let him win. And I, through my relationships and through the women that I talk to, if you see your husband struggling, literally pray with him and pray over him. And that's really what I think in those really dark days and times and moments, that's what saved us. Even though we weren't really truly walking with the Lord for the past 15 years, it's only been the past year. In those dark moments, we did pray, and I think that is what got us to where we're at now. And I'm encouraging all of you to just pray and talk to God and build that relationship with him.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Jackie, and this is our story.